Do you know what? I'm going to start it off like that. That's exactly how I'm going to start this fucking podcast. Brilliant. So yeah, hello and welcome to the first episode of VoDKast with a K, because apparently that looks a bit cooler. And I actually found out after naming it that VoDKast is already a thing. But yeah, with the K, it's not. So there we go. So like I said in the introduction, this is just going to be a platform where I chat to different band members about all sorts of shit, really. So I'm going to start off with my own band, because why not? So I've got our resident brummie here, Tom. Say hello, Tom. He seems to have frozen a little
Hello,
bit.
Tom. Yeah, internet's not great. I'm not quite a brummie. I'm out in the sticks-ish. I'm a country bumpkin, so yeah. My girlfriend's on the roof waving the antenna about, trying to get a good signal.
He said, "Get on the fucking roof, you twat."
we've not.
Nice. Okay, well, other than being in the middle of fucking nowhere, how are you doing?
Yeah, very well. Apart from not being at work, obviously, because due to being on lockdown, yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Kind of enjoying lockdown, to be fair.
I'm quite enjoying it. I'm quite enjoying being off work. When are we ever going to get like 3 months off work like this ever again?
I know, it's a bit dark as well, isn't it? Because you think, the UK is one of the, like, everyone's fucking dying here. Like, compared to Europe, like, and obviously America got us beaten, but a lot of people are dying, and I sort of feel guilty for enjoying my day. Like, I'm currently getting paid to chat with my mates, to play my guitar.
To play RuneScape.
Yeah, it's like living the dream.
Yeah, exactly.
But people are paying the price.
People are dying for your
dark.
fun. They died for your freedom. Dark. Brilliant.
Put a bit of damper on my mood now.
This is going to be a great podcast.
Right, let's take a minute's silence. Sorry, folks.
Cool. So now, as everybody is aware, we have an album coming out on the 8th of June called Aeons of Misery. So it might already be out when this podcast goes out. I'm not actually too sure when this is going to get released, but I'll leave a link to everything in the description. You can buy it and fund Tom's RuneScape addiction. So
please,
that'll pretty much be it. So Tom, Aeons of Misery, give me your view on the album. How did you find the writing process with us?
Really, really, really enjoyed writing it. Actually, I think in the past you guys have it's always gone like guitar gets written first, then everything else gets written around the guitar. But obviously, when I was writing, I said to Ben, chuck me some drum tracks, just some beats that you like to play, and we built it up from the drums upwards. And I think it just adds a little bit of a different dynamic in some of the songs.
Yeah, definitely. I know with Abhorrent Extinction, it was kind of just a bit of just a shit show, really. I mean, we just have like all these like little bits dotted about, and we sort of threw it all together at the last minute, and a lot of the album turned out to be sort of filler. So I think with this album's like really sort of flown a lot nicer, especially because we've had you in the band as well. Like since you've joined, you've really sort of got that flow very nice. So I don't know sort of what's happening with your camera at the minute. You're kind of not synced up, but I mean, I'm sure that'll be all fine and whatever.
Like I said, I'll have to. The missus on the roof. It's not working properly.
I know. Well,
hope you don't get my lighting or something.
Nice, definitely. Right. So, did you find it difficult to work with any of us at all, like when you first joined?
Do you know what? No. I didn't find it difficult to work with anyone. I just thought you hated me for the first 6 months.
Why?
And now anyone who knows Adam will just like fully understand what I'm on about. But like with Dan and Ben, I was having conversations with them and stuff, and I was just like, oh yeah, like we're getting on as mates and that. This is cool. And Adam was just being like, I'm a fucking knob.
Well, that's how I was being. Exactly, I'm a fucking knob.
Yeah, and I didn't think you liked me, but it turns out you do. So
I had to test you, didn't I? I had to see how much you could
break my resolve.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Joe Metallica when they got the new bassist and they bullied him, so he left.
Yeah, that was exactly the same.
I'm better than him.
You're better than Jason Newsted now. I mean,
And we
apart
didn't
from
turn
we
me
don't.
down on the albums either.
I thought they just deleted him completely off it, but
Well, there you go. I haven't been deleted, so I'm doing something right.
I mean, we could have just replaced it with my fucking my guitar player, and that would have been much better. But anyway, but I'm glad you found out that I did actually like you in the end, because I did always like you. I just thought I'd put you through your paces a little bit, really.
Just give me a bit of
I'm not
grief.
I'm not like Dan and Ben. Like Dan and Ben just like to pander to everyone. I don't. So there you go.
No, I reckon once we'd sort of got that first gig out the way with Extermination, just to give everyone an idea who's not. My first gig with Visions, we supported Extermination. The second gig I played with Visions was in Belgium, so it went from like 0 to 100 real quick. Like,
Yeah, and I mean, I put that sort of like on the question sort of later on in the podcast, but we definitely threw you in the deep end a little bit. Like, was that nerve wracking at all for you, or was it all right?
yeah, definitely, because it'd been obviously it'd been a while since I've been in a band as a guitarist and stuff. So getting back into it is a bit like shit. And then obviously playing at Rebellion, obviously where I've been to like Fall in the Brawl and stuff and seen decent bands, and I'm like, oh man, like this is a pretty big show. I think we did all right though.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
To
but
Extermination.
a funny story from Tom's first show though. I remember being stood there and we were playing one of the new songs. I think it was Pulmonary Embolism or
No, it wasn't.
Dystonia. Or was
Oh,
it Dystonia?
which time? The what?
I can't.
Right.
It was the first. Either way, it was Tom's first ever show, and one of the songs, he did really well throughout the whole set. And I think we were playing one of the new songs, and I'm there just sort of head banging away doing my thing, and then I look up and I see Tom stood right in front of me, and he's just mouthing, "I've forgotten it," and I'm just there like, and I'm there playing the riff that's supposed to be played, whilst also shouting it to his face, going dun 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 dun, and he couldn't do it, so he just made something up. Luckily, I don't think anybody noticed, but that was
No, no one noticed.
pretty. That was pretty
I
brilliant.
just I just made it
Having
look
to
like I was
shout.
talking to you and we were just vibing.
Yeah,
But
we just
really, I was just like stood in front of you going like, and anyone, if this has happened to anyone, you know it's like the worst feeling in the world, because imagine like you're driving a car down the road and all of a sudden out your brain it's just gone. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. It's a pretty scary situation, but instead of a car and driving, you're on stage in front of a load of people looking at you, and you're just like, oh, and it's just gone.
yeah. Oh yeah, pretty much. I mean, I've
So
made many mistakes. That's why I became a bassist. I mean, I was a guitarist before this, but I mean, I became a bassist pretty much. So if I did fuck up on stage, nobody actually notices it. So I can just jump about and act like a bit of a dickhead. So, oh wow,
yeah,
so
I
this
mean,
screen
you just
recording thing, you've just
basically
suddenly
live your
like,
thoughts.
yeah, pretty much. Like I there are times when I just literally make the songs up as I go along. So it's always pretty fun. Um. Anyway, so what's your favourite song off Aeons of Misery and why?
At the minute, I've been jamming the title track a lot,
Have you?
and that's one that Dan wrote. Yeah, I've just been playing it at home a lot. There's a slam at the end. Obviously, when this comes out, everyone will know what I'm on about. Um, but the slam at the end is just so much fun to play, and I just keep like going back on my DAW, putting the song back a bit, just playing along with it, and it's just like the grooviest thing. It's just like it's one
Just that
of them,
bit you
like
keep repeating round.
it's frustrating because we really want to play. I really want to play live. I know you guys probably do as well. I know Dan's up for it.
Massively.
It's frustrating not being able to play live at the minute. So I'm sort of like sat here in my bedroom, just like jamming away to myself, thinking, like it would be so much better just to play to somebody.
Oh, I know.
I'm
I know.
excited to play it to people to get that reaction. I think it's going to be really
Well,
cool.
have you seen that gig that's been announced? I can't remember who's on. I think there's a few bands anyway from Manchester that are on it, and they've sort of got Rebellion for the day, and they're sort of social distancing, but they're playing a gig, but it's being recorded and live streamed on Facebook or on Instagram or something like that.
Yeah,
I was
was
looking at
that
it going, that
Ren
is such a
Nemasunda?
sick idea. Is it? I can't remember who it was now, but I know I saw it this morning, and I was just like, oh, that's such a sick idea. Like, and you've seen like loads of other bands. I think there's a band called Psycho Stick or something. They just like keep live streaming like a gig every single week, pretty much, and they get like They're getting like
Yeah.
1,000 viewers for it. I'm just like, oh, maybe we should have just isolated together and done that. That would have been a sick idea.
To be honest, at the start of isolation, I was just like, this is good. And now I'm like 2 months in. I've not. I keep popping up to the local shop just to grab like shit I don't need, but just to have some social interaction of some sort.
That's exactly what I've been doing as well, pretty
I,
much.
it's like, well, because I live in a village, so it's like the guy who owns the shop knows me. I know him. His name's Pinnack.
Everyone
Hello,
knows.
Pinnack. If you're watching this, you're probably never going to watch it in your life. Everyone give a shout out to Pinnack. Thumbs up for Pinnack.
Yeah,
Smash
come on,
that like
Pinnack.
button.
Heart react for Pinnack.
Dicks out for Pinnack.
I know what you mean because I've got the same thing. We've got Ian Handley. So if you
Oh,
like him for
nice.
Pinnack, like for Ian Handley as well. Ian's brilliant. We all love Ian.
Right. If anyone's got this far in the podcast and there's a comment section below, I just want you to put one word: Pinnack or Ian. Who would you rather go to?
Yeah, there we go. That can be the little poll that we send out. Pinnack or Ian.
Pinnack or Ian?
This has gone so far away from the album. I don't know how
Yeah,
we've
I've
got onto
completely forgotten
locals.
what I was talking about.
We were talking about I think it was favourite song on the album. We've ended up
All
talking
right.
about Ian and Pinnack.
The worst thing is, right, is if anyone who's like been on tour with us or been around us for a while knows that when like the four of us together or there's a couple of us together, we just chat so much bollocks. It's
It's a
like,
bit painful, isn't it? Really, like because you just forget everything that you're talking about. Which I knew
yeah.
this podcast was going to take because I've sort of like I've written down like sort of a bit of a structure. Honestly, if you look on my phone, I've got like a little bit of a structure here to sort of go by, and it's just completely gone off it. And I mean, I've got nothing about talking about local news agents on here.
That's what it's all about. It's a professional podcast, you know.
Professional podcast.
Go off on a
Well,
tangent and bring it back round.
yeah, exactly. So we will bring it back round. So your favorite song off the album was Aeons of Misery. I'm going to tell you, my favorite song for me is Plagues. I fucking love that tune so much. Like, and it's not just because I wrote it, but I just love how it starts off, and then I think it's just a brilliant way to end the album, and it's so hard and it's so heavy, and it's something a little bit different. I think so. Those are the two songs to sort of
I think
jam the
when
most on
I
the
when
album.
I listen to albums, I think the last song is like really important. Like, what, just off the
Yeah.
top of my head, I just think of a couple of albums. Obviously, Job for a Cowboy, Ruination album. The way that ends is insane. That it just like
Oh yeah.
when that album ends, you just like fuck. Obviously, with Ruination. Um, I tell you what, The Poison by Bullet for Valentine. That
Oh
the last
yeah.
song of
What a
that,
class
that is fucking banger as well. But like,
class album.
I, I think for a lot of bands, the last song on the album is always a bit of like a curveball, a bit of an oddball, and
Mm,
I think that is with us. I think it's a bit of a growth almost. I mean,
definitely, yeah.
at this point, I don't know if it's out or not, so I'm not sure how much we're supposed to be talking about. Um,
Just talk about all you want.
oh right,
Just
okay,
keep
yeah.
going. Just talk
Well,
about
I
it.
think I think what's crazy, I think some like blackened influences have crept in, and I think
Definitely.
with it's clean guitars, you know, that's not something that like slab and death metal do too often, but it's done in such a dark way that like it still
It's
fits.
that
It's weird, isn't it? It
it's
still
that little
feels like a
nasty
death metal song.
exactly. It's that nasty little chord that's just sort of like crept into a lot of the songs, which I've really liked. And as soon as I started like writing with that, I was like, this needs to like be constant throughout the album. I think because it just sounds a little bit different to the standard slam, really. So that's why I sort of really liked it. But sort of with going with like the writing process and things, obviously me and you have written the majority of the album, and Dan's obviously done a couple of songs as well. Ben likes to claim that he wrote a song. I mean, really, he just wrote the drums. I mean, he didn't really fucking do anything. But
Fuck you, Ben.
yeah, exactly. Fuck Ben. Fuck Ben. So do you have any like specific like writing process when you like when you sit down? Do you have like a certain workflow that you like stick to or anything that just like inspires you at the time, or do you literally just sit down and just go, let's just see what I can shit
Well,
out?
To be honest, if I sit down in front of my computer and I'm just like start trying to write, it's like a deer in the headlights. It just doesn't come out of me. So what I'll do is I'll literally just either stick some drum tracks on YouTube or just whack some bands on Spotify and just play. And I know it sounds really weird. Obviously, I don't play along with the song, the guitars in the song, but I'll play to the drums because I
All
just
right, okay.
I think the way I've always seen it in metal, drums are what makes the band heavy, but the bass and the guitars sort of like
Compliment it.
points the direction, almost like directs it, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, I mean, like you can have a super heavy slam riff, but if the drummer's got some brushes against, it's just instantly taken away. But if you've got a drummer going on a China, pretty much
Yeah.
no matter what he's playing, it's gonna sound heavy.
Yeah. Especially if you've got like a big idiot like Ben as well, who will just smash the drums as hard as he possibly can. But even if he does that, he still can't hit it. But you know,
The
yeah,
drumming
no,
on this album is like the best out of all
it's
the stuff that's come out though.
oh, it's
And
fantastic. He's Ben's done a really good job on it. He's done a really, really good job.
I really like on some of the songs. Obviously, I know Ben likes Epicardiectomy, but a lot of like he's done some bell stuff that sounds really good. Obviously, like
Oh yeah,
Epicardiectomy, do a bit of that. Just
Ben's
some hi
massively
hats,
into
like hat stuff.
Ben is massively into his rides and his bells and things like that. He loves doing all those little tings and things. I love it when there's always that like little stop in a song, and you just hear it, and then Ben just goes ting, and you're like, oh shit, there we go. It's brilliant.
It's like when we play 0161 live, and it just
Oh,
starts with the bell.
he just keeps hitting it over and over. It's brilliant. But yeah, so
just
we'll come back to the album in a bit anyway, because I actually want to talk about you, Tom. Like I said before, I feel like you're one of the more mysterious members of the bands, and probably because you're the newest, really. I feel like I know the least about you. I mean, Ben and Dan are pretty fucking boring people, and I can't be arsed
yeah.
talking to them, to be quite honest with you. It's why I've
Well, they're
asked you
not
to do
boring.
it.
I'm not agreeing with that. I'm just saying that I'm not boring.
They are fucking boring. They are very, very boring people. But anyway, so let's get from the start. So Tom, please tell me about your first ever band.
Right, my first ever band. Right, so I've got a few because there's like different varying levels. Like when I was like 8 or 9, I started learning guitar. So when I was like 9 or 10, my guitar teacher put a guitar group together, like with acoustic guitars. We went and played like
Right.
American Idiot in the church and stuff like that.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, played like Wake Me Up When September Ends and all sorts. That was like when I
Green
was a
Day in a
kid.
church. Green Day in a church. I
Yeah,
bet you thought
because
you were like proper like rock and roll then as well, like all these old
no,
buggers
because
like sitting around.
yeah. To be fair, I'm lucky I had the guitar teacher who did because he introduced me to some like really good music. He used to be in like where I live in the Midlands. He used to be like I think he was in a punk band and stuff like that. But he's an
Yeah.
awesome guitarist. And he told me about bands like Massive Attack and all of that. But yeah, I was playing Green Day. I've mentioned Green Day in the last podcast I did. I think it's like a recurring theme. But
Like,
yeah, I don't think people really appreciate how much I worship them. Um,
I mean, I didn't
Apart
really know.
from
I'm not gonna
obviously
lie.
the new stuff, because it's shit. But pretty much everything,
Yeah.
like everything up to American Idiot's pretty good in my opinion.
Mm.
I'm fucking rambling again. We're not even talking about Green Day.
No, we're not. I'm talking about your first ever band. Like, was your
Yeah,
first ever band
so no. right, so anyone watching, again, like we'll have to get Daryl on or someone we've been on tour with. We'll just have to clarify how much bollocks we chat and like how often we'll talk about something and it will end up in a completely different subject to where we originally started.
Daryl from Score Shore is just as bad for it though, isn't it? He'll carry on and just start talking complete shit. But he's just a bouncy Scotsman, so it'll just get even worse.
Right, let's get back on it.
Yes.
Right,
First ever band.
first ever band. Well, second ever band. Okay, so that's not really first
Well,
band.
second.
First ever band, right, was a black metal band.
Oh,
called
cool.
As Mortar. We
Nice.
originally recorded an album in a day without any writing
Like
in
most
my
black metal.
friend's attic, using a laptop in the middle of the room as a mic.
Oh wow! So that's
we
that's
record
very much like black metal.
we record
Right, cool. So we had a bit of a technical blip there, but we're pretty much okay now. So, Tom, you were talking about your black metal band. I think we got up to, we got up to that you were recording it with a laptop in the middle of the room. Your drummer wasn't a drummer, and he used a dampened tom as the kick.
Yes, that's right. So, because his house was attached to another house, he wasn't allowed. He had to play with like the rubber silencer pads.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he couldn't play drums, he couldn't actually use his foot to do the kick to do double kick. So he's literally just twatting the shit out of the floor tom because it
Amazing.
sounded like a kick. And you had the vocalist literally just screaming into the air, and it was garbage. It was really bad.
That sounds
Um,
amazing. So, is there any like evidence of this? Like, is there any
no, to be
recordings or
fair,
anything
the
about?
only surviving recording of that band that I could find is after I left,
Oh,
and they'd upped the ante a little bit. But I
are
mean,
are
I
they
was
still going
13.
or?
No, I was 13, and it's bad. We had songs called like "Burn That Fucking Church," um, but mixed into that, right? We had one called like oh no, we had three called Darok, Caril, and Arim. For anyone knows, that's off RuneScape because we didn't know what to name the song, so we just named it after RuneScape characters
Wow.
because that's true black metal. We even had like black metal names and all
I
sorts.
was gonna say, did you have like stage names?
Yeah,
What
I
was
was
yours?
Mortis Nox.
You were fucking what?
Mortis Nox, which I think's Latin
Mortis,
for something. But
big
to be
twat.
honest, yeah, I mean, when you're 13, stuff is a lot cooler than what you think it is. Like,
Definitely.
but I thought it was really cool what I was doing. I mean, it
That
it wasn't good.
I
It
mean,
really.
Mortis Knox is definitely not a name that's going to catch on very very well.
No, I mean, I'm sort of glad that I got away from the whole black metal thing. I actually think
Good.
that it put like a damper on like how much I could like black metal because I have heard black metal now that I thought, oh, that's decent. What they're doing is good,
But you've been scarred
and
by it a bit.
but I'm a bit, yeah. It's like I'm a bit emotionally damaged by it.
That's
It brings back
amazing.
terrible memories.
I mean, my
And
first
then,
band was my first band was with Ben. I've always been in bands with Ben. Like every single band, it just seems to be a thing that me and Ben are together. And we were like, I think I was 13, he was 14. I think he was a little bit older than me, and it was called Evolution, and we were basically a Metallica's covers band. All we played was Enter Sandman and For Whom the Bell Tolls and Seek and Destroy. And I remember there was one gig we played because I live in a village called Cuddington and Sandyway. I mean, I don't know which one it's actually called. It seems to be like split into two. But from the way I see it, the scumbags call it Cuddington and the posh people call it Sandyway. That seems to be how it sort of ended up. But we played a gig called Sandfest, and we got the opening slot, and we came on. I think we played For Whom the Bell Tolls, and that was all we could play. That was how long our set was. Our set was one song long. Anyway, and there was absolutely no one there. It was at Sandyway Primary School. So it was just like
right,
kids running about. It was basically like a little fun fair, like village gala day thing. And then there's us playing this like awful music. Anyway, and I think they felt a little bit sorry for us. So they let us get on and play again when people had got a bit busier, and we only even then we only got to play one song, and we played "Smells Like Teen Spirit," and one of our mums. I can't remember whose mum it was, but they like recorded it. And there's this old woman sat there with her fingers in her ears, just looking at the crowd. I was just like, oh wow, that's brilliant. But basically,
I
that's
mean,
what we did.
you like one up to me because you actually got to play to people. I
I
mean,
was
in the long run, maybe that's a better thing for me
I
because
was
people never
going to
got.
ask you. I was going to ask you, what was your first ever gig?
My first gig wasn't like until a band after that. Like I was probably like 15
Right.
at this point. And me and my best friend at the time got invited into a band to play guitar and bass.
Mm.
So we're already a band. Um, and we did some originals, not great. We did some covers, not great. Um, and we played a lot of gigs to like no one.
What did you
You know,
cover?
like classic, like we covered "Waking the Demon" by Bullet for Valentine.
Nice,
I tell
amazing.
you what, I listened
That
back, like that solo is a good solo.
it
It's a
still
good tune.
bangs. Old Bullet
We
bangs. It's
pl-
brilliant.
we played a Wednesday 13 cover,
Nice.
Bad Things. I'm just trying to think what else we covered. Mate, there's
Shit.
videos of it on YouTube and it's atrocious. It's really bad. Well, at the time, we were like, yeah, we want to be like Pantera and Bullet My Valentine,
We
Trivium,
want to be like
all these sick bands.
Pantera and Bullet for My Valentine.
Yeah, I mean, at this
Brilliant.
point, like, I was like, I had like Kill by Cannibal Corpse and Ruination by Job for a Cowboy. So I was like into the heavier stuff, but none of my
Yeah.
friends really were.
Mm.
So like Trivium and Bullet and that always felt like more
Yeah.
approachable stuff that I could like approach people with.
That was pretty much the
Um,
same with me and Ben in our first band. Because we got into the heavier stuff. Well, pretty much like as soon as we started like liking metal, like we basically just kept going like, what's heavier, what's heavier, what's heavier. And we always used to come into school in like, I don't know, like year 9, like finding different bands on YouTube and stuff. And like Ben like showed me like Begging for Incest and Scordatura and things like that, like when they'd sort of first started. And I'd come in and be like, oh yeah, look, this is Ingested and Waking the Cadaver and things like that. And then we'd like find Cranium and all these like different bands and stuff. And like the other two members, Becky and Aaron, who were lovely people, but they weren't quite as into the heavier stuff as us. They were like, I think Aaron was sort of more into like the sort of happier kind of pop punky sort of style, and Becky was just our mate, really. Becky couldn't even play bass or anything like that.
it's
She
like
just
Bez
joined.
from
And
Happy Mondays doesn't really
she,
do anything,
she,
but he's there.
she was pretty much Bez. But we were just like, here's a bass guitar, it's easy. You can play like a couple of notes on it and that'll be sick. And I think she was into the music, but she definitely wasn't as into it as us. So that's kind of what what happened with us. But so your first gig, you played like a load of covers and things. I remember like mine and Ben's first gig in Evolution. At the time, we didn't have a name, and basically it was our vocalist's dad's 40th birthday at Owlywood Club. And like Aaron's mum had come up to us and said, "I want you to learn all of these songs that Aaron's dad likes, and you can play it at his 40th birthday as your first gig." And we were like, "Oh, brilliant, okay." And there we were learning songs like Metallica, and she like gave us this list of songs like "Crazy Nights" by Kiss and "Born to Be Wild" and what was it? "Give Me All Your Loving" by ZZ Top. So we were like, oh god. So we practiced like every Monday learning these songs, playing at fucking Owlywood Club. And the DJ who was like hired for the night was like going to announce us. And we got announced as, and we were like, he was like, what's the name of the band? And we were like, we don't know. Like, we haven't really got one. He just went, I'll make up a name for you. And we were like, oh God, right, okay. And he was a typical DJ, you know, like when they get dead close to the mic, you can't understand a word they're saying. They're just like, welcome to, and you just can't understand anything they're saying. But the only bit I heard was him, the name he'd made up for us, and it was Ron Jovi. And their first ever gig being announced as fucking Ron Jovi. Like, for fuck's sake. Like,
Oh, that's bad.
what a shit name. So we came on and we were like supposed to be in like a dress code, like black jeans, white top, and maybe a hat if you wanted to. So like Ben, Aaron, and Becky were all there, like, you know, black
Fedoras.
jeans, white white top. Aaron was wearing a fucking fedora as well, and then I came on in like he was wearing a fucking fedora, and I came on with sort of a black and white striped top and blue jeans. And I looked like such a dickhead. And it was a pretty fucking awful gig, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was terrible. I remember absolutely shitting myself before it, but it was fucking terrible.
My first gig, we'd decided. So I joined this band with my best mate, and at the time we had other mates who were in like the other band in the village.
Yeah.
So we put on a gig at the Working Men's Club.
Right, okay.
we actually we hired out the room and everything, paid the room. We made money on the gig, which is something that you don't do very often.
Okay.
Yeah, we even decided to donate it all to charity and all. But
Aw.
like we had loads of mates come from school and stuff because we was only like 15 or 16. Well, I was 15.
Yeah.
So
People sort of
it was
pretended to
actually
take an interest.
there were still loads of people there, and there was people like moshing and stuff.
Oh,
And you
that's
could
sick.
see people like obviously walking up to the Working Men's Club, finish work, just want to have a pint on a Friday. Like
And that's all
walking
these
into this
kids.
room, and just seeing a load of fucking sweaty kids running around like, and some shit metal playing.
I bet they would feel like Bob, like poor little Bob, like just absolutely fucking fuming. He can't have his
I
after work pint after grafting all day. He's got to come here and
know,
listen to
yeah.
you play Waking the Demon.
Bob's been on the tools all day, and they has to listen to some little sweaty fucking nerds play Bullet for Valentine.
Lovely. So, speaking of sweaty fucking nerds, we actually stumbled across Tom on RuneScape a few years back, which is how we pretty much met him. And then we finally actually went on and met you in person at Bloodstock, and then found out you were that guy on RuneScape that we'd met. Did you have any idea from that you'd be like joining Visions a year later after that?
I didn't, because it was sort of weird how it happened at the time, because I didn't get into like Brutal Death or Slam until like quite a bit later, really. Like, you know, on iTunes you got the no, not iTunes, sorry, Spotify. You got the playlists, and it says like your
Yeah.
top tracks from like 2015.
Mm.
2015 is the year for me where like it started to become like a regular occurrence in my playlists.
Yeah.
Because before that there was still like it was mostly Black Dahlia. There was like Aeon, Cannibal
Yeah.
Corpse, Deicide, Vital Remains, like death metal bands, just straight up death metal.
Mm.
But then, like 2015, like Devourment started creeping in and bands like that. So I'm sort of it's the only playlist I've actually kept because I'm sort of proud of it. But it's
Yeah.
not even good Devourment. It's 50 Ton War Machine, so it's like it's the Devourment that no one likes.
Nice.
Which is probably why I got into it, because I just thought it was straight up death metal when I heard that album.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's some things you do listen to, like when you're younger and you go, "Oh my god, this is so sick," and then you grow up and realize that everybody actually hated that album. Like I remember, like listening to like Fuel and not that, like Load and Reload by Metallica, and thinking, "Oh, these are such sick albums," and then like Saint Anger as well. And then I grew up a bit more, and it turns out like everybody fucking hated those albums. I was just like,
It's the
"Why?
same with
They're
me.
so good."
Like I was like Trivium. Like I had a mate who was really into Trivium, and I was like always aware of Ascendancy,
Mm.
but I didn't. The first Trivium album I bought, or my friend actually gave me it, was The Crusade, the one that everyone fucking hated.
Yeah,
But I thought
I
it
mean,
was decent. But
yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the Crusade, but I mean, yeah, I mean, like when you grow up, you just realize like how many people sort of like dislike albums that you loved, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, I thought this was sick. Like, sort of shitting on my childhood here.
yeah, I mean, I didn't get into my stuff like deathcore or anything because I was like true, like I listened
True
to
metal.
metal. So like I listened to like Machine Head, Lamb of God, Devil Driver, just
Oh
like
yeah,
Roadrunner shit. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Yeah, so like
Before I
no, like Bring Me the
started getting
Horizon
into
or
the new
anything.
stuff,
It's like Bring Me the Horizon never came on your radar.
they did, and there was a couple of songs that I liked, like Chelsea Smile,
Yeah,
and I liked I can't even remember what it's called now, but it's one of the early ones that's got like a really fucking heavy like death metal intro.
Oh right, I think I know. Was it like Diamonds Aren't Forever? That one.
No, I'm not going to remember it now, but it's like
Ah,
one of the
fair
most
enough.
popular ones.
So
But
you were
I
a
was
true
like,
metal fan.
they've got short hair. They can't be metal.
You're still like that now. Just
It's
look at
like
you.
Suicide Silence. Like at first, my mate was like, "Listen to these," and I was like, "Yeah, these are cool. These are cool." And I was like, he's like, "Look at this guitarist," and I was like, "Oh man, he's got long hair like me. How cool is he?" He's like, "Look at this drummer," and I was like, "He's got long hair like me. How cool is he?" I was like, "The bassist," and I was like, shows me the singer, and I'm like, "Oh man." It's like, do you remember when everyone used to wear like the plimsolls and like the super tight jeans?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That used to just get on my wick. That used to piss me off. So, like, I saw that and I just instantly associated it with people who used to bum off like Bring Me
Yeah.
just because they used to love Ollie Sykes, or used to bum
Mm.
off like Suicide because um, they fancied Mitch Looker.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
Do you know
yeah,
what I
I
mean?
mean, I
Then
sort of
type
got
that put me
you
off
get
it
that with a lot. Yeah, you get that with a lot. It was all like the raw XD people, wasn't it? And like all the profile pictures sort of like this, and they draw on
because of that.
themselves all the
Like,
time. Like,
I never liked metalcore. Like, I liked Killswitch,
mm.
and that's about as far as it went.
I
And
think
obviously Bullet.
metalcore's always been like my sweet spot kind of thing. I mean, my favorite band's Partway Drive. That's my like all time favorite band, and like all metalcore's just always like hit the spot with me. I think that's always been my favorite sort of thing, and I always wanted like to be in a metalcore band, and then I sort of started one like very very briefly, and it was just a pile of shit. And I was just like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna do this, and then I ended up joining a deathcore band with Ben, and that just sort of turned into a complete waste. But yeah, I think like
Hmm.
metalcore's always been like my little sweet spot kind of thing, but then not like the metalcore, like Woe Is Me, where it's literally just a fucking breakdown and some lyrics about his ex girlfriend who didn't actually do anything to him, but he wants to like write some edgy content and stuff like that. It's just like, nah,
Yeah, that's what I'm
like,
saying. I'm like, the first couple of Killswitch albums are really good. Like early Bullet albums are really good.
mm,
Um, like 2005, 2006. But I remember sitting there at school. We used to have like these laptops at primary school, and you
yeah.
couldn't get on it like YouTube and stuff because it was just starting off. But they'd like figured enough like to not put it on there. So we used to watch videos on something called Music Jesus,
Oh, Music Jesus.
and it used to like watch it
That
in
is a
like
blast from the past.
144p. But
Yeah.
we always
Oh,
used to
what a
listen to
blast from the
like
past.
used to listen to like AFI
Yeah, yeah.
or what's that song like Knife Blood Nightmare, just shit like that, like emo
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
and
Yeah,
like
just
emo stuff and
all the
metalcore.
depressing like yeah, I know what you mean. Oh, you've proper
Yeah,
like said, like I completely forgot about Music Jesus until now. That's amazing.
yeah, I had actually googled it a little while ago just to see if it was still a thing, but unfortunately it's not.
Is it not? It's not
Obviously,
really surprising, is it?
YouTube
Like
YouTube's fucking killed it off, but
YouTube's kind of
it's just like
we used to use Daily Motion. That was the one we could get on in our school.
I've never heard that one to be fair.
Have you not? Oh, Daily. Well, to be fair,
No,
I think Daily Motion's still going, but I mean that's like the only. Yeah, no, that was the only one we could really get on. But anyway, moving on from. I don't even know what we were talking. We were talking about Bloodstock, and, and being in Visions, and you've gone on talking about Daily Motion and RuneScape. Brilliant.
fucking hell.
Um,
Joe, when we're telling you that we waffle and it goes off on a tangent,
we do
I'm just
waffle too
telling you
much.
now, just just go with it because it's going to happen a lot.
So something will happen. I think this podcast will just end up being like ridiculously fucking long, but oh well, who cares? But anyway, let's talk about RuneScape, Tom, because you're a big fucking nerd. I mean, we all are really, but you're like the biggest nerd. I'd say you're like the big nerd of the band. So
I'm just like
when
the
did you
dedicated nerd.
the dedicated nerd? There you go. You're probably the most dedicated one. But when did you start RuneScape? Like when did you like first start it?
Oh, like when I was a kid, obviously back in the day, all your mates playing it. I
Yeah.
thought I see my mate chopping a tree. I thought I can fucking do that. I can have some of that. And there's
Oh
me
yeah.
at like fucking 10, 11 years old, just chopping willow trees for hours on end.
Nice, nice. I think that's how pretty much everyone started. We all had like a mate who'd found out about it, and then you just got
Yeah.
on it. But I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it for ages because we didn't have. I think it was like 2005 or something when I found out about it, and we didn't have broadband at the time because the parents were just skimpy. So we didn't have any broadband, and we had one of them like big fat computers. It was like a shared family computer.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
used to have to go
same.
around to my mates and play it. And I made the account Doomsday 5, which is still going. Doomsday is
Hey,
still
mine's
going
are
strong.
still the original one that I used to play.
Yeah, same with mine. I'm just like, oh yeah, cool. We've actually got OG accounts, but yeah. So like, I found out about that, and then just sort of like went on it and told everyone in my school about it. So everyone sort of like ended up. There was a few people who'd already like knew it, and they were like, "I've already told you about this. Like, why are you only joining now?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." So we all just used to join it and absolutely bash it. And then like I think it was like in uni or something. Dan had found out you could get on old school RuneScape still, so I just ended up starting that again.
That's where I like found out about it again. Because when I was at uni, I was sort of like at this weird, awkward stage where I was like, sort of really started delving deep into extreme metal,
Mm.
and hadn't like my social like. I was like a puppy who hadn't been socialised. You know what I mean? Like,
You were a
I
loner.
just didn't know what to do. Yeah, so like I had mates and that, and I had some really good mates, but I just never been in that many social situations before. Do you know what I mean? So it's like
All
just
right.
being chucked. I live in a small village. Do you know what I mean? So like when
Yeah,
you then go down near London and there's like a lot of people, it's like a
it's
lot going
different,
on.
isn't it? It is
So
different.
I did the normal thing. What you do is shut yourself away in your halls and play RuneScape.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did as well.
But it
That's pretty.
turns out I had some mates. I'd made some friends as I'd started playing it, and then I
Mm.
came out to them. I was like, "Guys, look, please don't laugh at me, but I play RuneScape." And they were like, "You fucking should have said so do we."
Oh man, that would have been sick. I mean, we just used to have like there were times in our uni house and stuff where they'd be like, "Oh, like is anyone coming out for a few drinks tonight?" And there'd be like three of us sat there, like not showered, sat there in our joggers, just all on our laptops, going, "No, we're playing RuneScape today." And
that
it was just the most. It's like the most unsociable social game that you can play. It's brilliant. Right, so we had another technical sort of hitch there, but we're all right now. So we were pretty much talking about RuneScape. So, um, Tom, tell us a bit more about your RuneScape account.
uh, I'm level 124 combat. I'm over 2,000 total. I've played it for an ungodly amount of hours, and I need help.
That was going to be my next question. How many hours have you actually put into RuneScape? Do you reckon?
Joe, I could find out and I could tell you, but it's like if you could imagine being logged onto the game and that's how it counts it. I've got days upon days actually being logged in.
Jesus, that's a bit
Um,
ridiculous. What have you
but
always sort of
I've
been into like gaming and things like that? Like, has that always been a thing that's sort of in like? Have you always been like quite good at games and things like that? Have you always like taken a
do you know
huge
what?
interest in it, or?
I've never been like amazing at them. I've never had the latest tech
Mm.
or anything like that, but I've always loved gaming. Um, my grandma and granddad gave me a Game Boy Pocket, the black and white one,
Oh yeah, yeah, I
like
remember
little
them.
grey thing. Had batteries in. Used to play like Mario and stuff like that on it
Yeah.
until it died, and then it lost all the info.
Oh, nice.
Um, you couldn't even play it in the dark either. Like if I went somewhere in my mum and dad's car,
Yeah.
like I'd be sitting there like trying to get in the street light and then like moving forward a little bit every time the street light went over it.
So what I used to do, I used to get we used to have like torches and things like that if we ever wanted to. Because for some reason my parents didn't want us turning the lights on and things like that in case it woke any of us up.
Yeah.
So we had torches and we always had it like right by our bed. And I remember being sat there with my Game Boy under my covers with a torch in my mouth, like trying to play Pokemon or something like that. I'd be like, oh right, no, and then like the torch would like drop out of my mouth, and I'd be like, oh no, it was like right in the middle of a battle or something like that, and I'd end up like losing. So I just sort of gave up with that. But then like when like the DS or something came out and I could actually see what I was doing, I was just like, oh brilliant. And it just sort of
I
went
tell,
down from there.
I tell you what, the GBA SP, you know the one that was square and flipped up like that.
Oh god, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was the one for me. Like I played like I really like those like Pokemon games from back that era, like
Oh, that
Ruby,
was sick.
Sapphire, Emerald,
Yeah, Ruby
Fire
and
Red,
Sapphire
Leaf
were
Green. Like it got to the point where like my brother had one, and I ended up just like commandeering like his.
Yeah.
Game Boy and having two and like trading shit back and forth, playing on two games.
Oh, I remember them. I remember them. Yeah, me and my sister both had them. I think she had Pokemon Ruby and I had Pokemon Sapphire, which was
I prefer
basically the thing.
Sapphire.
I thought it was just pretty much the same game, pretty much. And then when I like got older, I realized there were like actual differences on there. But yeah, we had both of them, but like, and we'd never swap or anything like that. But yeah, what was the best Pokemon you caught, if you remember?
I think my favourite was Rayquaza, um,
Oh yeah,
in Sapphire and obviously Emerald.
yeah. Did you ever get on
Um,
Pokemon Go when that came about?
oh mate, when that came out, that was like the summer of my life.
It was so good, wasn't it?
So yeah, like it was when people were making stuff like where you could see where the Pokemon were, like
Yeah,
on in the game in real life sort of thing. So if there was a Pokemon like Pikachu spawned over next street, there'd be
yeah.
six people on this website because it would tell them that it's there. So
Mm.
like there was people who were just like I ended up walking around with people that I'd never met before. And my village is not a big village, you know, there's like a couple of thousand people sort of thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
So there wasn't a lot really to catch,
yeah, but
kind of thing. I
it's
mean,
like going out, but it's nice to go out and meet people and like just have like
it,
common interests with people you've never met before.
it was good. I mean, I remember working at when I worked at EA in Nantwich. That had quite like a big like Pokemon community, and we used to sort of sit in our shop all day because we were like right by like a Pokestop sort of thing. So like me and Sam, if like we were like, there was a guy called Sam who worked with us who's in a band called Vulgar. If you want to check them out, but yeah, we used to just sit there and play like Pokemon Go pretty much all day. And people would come along, like I think there was a gym next door as well. And there'd be like raids going on like after work and stuff. Like there was one time like we met up and like with all these like different people and did a raid and it was so sick. Like because I was like looking around because I thought it was just gonna be like young nerds and things like that, but it wasn't. It was like kids and the parents and there was like a couple of old people who were stood there playing it. Like everyone, like there was such a range of people playing
Well,
it.
this is the thing, like because it come out over summer and I'd come back from university, I'd had a job in Tamworth,
Yeah.
the town next to us, and they've got a big castle in Tamworth and the castle grounds around it, which is like a
Mm.
big park you can go and sit in. And as you walked around, there's like loads of like Pokestops and stuff that you could go to, which was really cool. At the time, like I was going to work like early, hopping on the bus, getting there early, and sitting outside like trying to catch Pokemon and stuff with like my mates from work.
Yeah.
Proper
It
nerd
was
behaviour.
it was such a sick game though. I really loved it, and like you have to like walk like 10 kilometers to hatch an egg and stuff. I remember being like sat in my room and I'd have one of these eggs and I'd be like, "Mum, I'm just gonna like go on like a little wander." Pretty much, she'd be like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm playing Pokemon Go." So I'd literally just like walk around the village like 10 times, just
Yeah.
keep like looping and looping and looping, and then like I'd eventually hatch this egg and it'd hatch and it'd be something like proper shit, like a Caterpie or something like that. Be like,
I walked
for fuck's sake.
10,000 meters for this.
Like I did all of that just for this, but then like it was such a good game as well. Like it was such like a social. It was properly sick. Um, but were there any other games that you were like massively into, like even like
Like
now or as a
growing
kid?
up, Halo 3,
Oh,
like
what a
because all
game!
my friends played it on Xbox, like Halo 3 was like next level experience.
That was fucking
Like I
amazing.
played that campaign by myself. I played it with my mates. We used to play online. We used to build our own maps.
All difficulties as well. Like
Yeah, like we got all the schools and everything. Like when I think
it
back
was.
to it,
Yeah.
like in the lobby you could have 16 people. I'm sure it's 16 people, and it was constantly full with
Oh yeah,
people.
yeah.
I've recently got the Master Chief Collection on my computer, so I've like played through 1 and 2.
Oh
I don't know if
nice.
number three's out yet, but I'm waiting for like campaign of 3 to come out because I'm
Halo
gonna
is
get
like one
so
of
much
the
nostalgia.
Yeah, Halo's like one of the ultimate sort of games, really, isn't it? I fucking loved it.
It was
Halo 4 was I really enjoyed Halo 4 when that came out. What was the one before it that like had that massive Forge map? What was that called? I can't remember what it was called now. Reach, wasn't it? Halo Reach.
yeah. I didn't play anything after Halo 3.
Oh,
I
did you
played
not?
ODST and didn't think it was great.
Oh, ODST was
Um,
was
but
terrible.
but I had an Xbox 360 when I was like 13. My mum and dad
Mm,
bought that. which I'm very lucky. They bought that for me and my brother for Christmas this one year.
Yeah.
But then I didn't have a new console or anything until I was 18. For my 18th birthday, I got a computer.
Right, fair enough.
That's like where my PC gaming sort of went off.
So you're more of a PC gamer than a console, because I'm definitely more console than anything. I don't think I've ever been interested in PC gaming. Like, I've always sort of looked at it and just been like, nah, I prefer
I've never
consoles.
owned
I
a
don't know.
telly, so it's been really hard for me to own a console.
Oh,
Really
fair enough.
pointless.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
that's
mean?
kind
So
of,
like, the thing I
that is
like
one of
about
the
it
main
is because
requirements.
for
Go on.
anyone who wants to know, all the guitars for the album were recorded. A lot of it was recorded in this room that we're in now, which is my girlfriend's Karen's. A lot of it was recorded at my bedroom at my parents'. It's like half and half. Like having a computer that could do that, I spend most of my time watching YouTube or watch people on Twitch streaming and stuff.
Yeah,
Or I could play games on it. I think that's like for me, like I get the most out of my money for it. Where I pay like 500 quid or whatever it is for a console, and I'm like,
and it just does one
then I
thing,
have a telly to plug
pretty
it
much.
into.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas
I mean,
like
I
with
suppose
this, like
they've turned into more like multimedia devices now, haven't they? Like, if you look on, like, I mean, when I got my PlayStation 4, it's, it's games, it's Netflix, it's all different like sorts of networks, it's all catch up TV, and the Xbox One's even like more than that. They've just turned into these like they've made it more than just gaming, basically, which a lot of people were pissed off about, and I never really understood why. They were all just like, "Oh no, it's just for gaming." It's like, no, like, you want
I think
everything on it, because then you've not got like 20 devices to do like all this like one different thing. So like, you got to plug your laptop into the telly, and then you've got to like, it's just put it all in one place, which I always really liked. But I mean, I get what you're saying with the PC. Like, you can pretty much just do everything on there.
but that's the thing with Steam though. You can have a telly in your house and you can stream from your computer downstairs or something. So say you had mates over, that's something you could do. But I don't know, just for me, I've always had mates who've played those games, so it's made sense
Yeah,
for me to play them as well.
fair
Um,
enough. Fair enough. I mean, so obviously, you prefer the PC gaming. What is your favorite game, though?
it's really hard for me to say. Like I've got a few favourite games. Do you know what I mean? Like I've got the
Yeah.
games I always come back to. Old school RuneScape's one of them.
Mm.
Civilization 5's one of them.
All right.
Which if you haven't played that, you basically play as like a famous historical person and
Okay.
build an empire and take over the world. For anyone to know, like you can play against Gandhi, and Gandhi will nuke the shit out of you.
That sounds amazing.
It's mate, I'm heavy into the strategy games because it's all coming out now. I'm a proper fucking nerd for it.
I know. I
Um,
like I like a good strategy game. I used to have
I love
was it called Ruse on Xbox? That was one I always used to play, and there was Command and Conquer. I always used to like
Command
playing
and
those
Conquer's
ones.
good. I
Command and
like the
Conquer was
Dawn of War
brilliant.
games as well.
They
I love, 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 love the Borderlands series, 1, 2, and 3.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, Borderlands is
I've
one
got
of
an
them. It's just
obscene
so
amount of hours played on Borderlands 2.
Mm. Are you big into Fallout?
Yeah, I really love Fallout 3. I really like Fallout New Vegas. I don't like Fallout 4 that much.
I think
And
that
Fallout
the only
76,
one.
I've not even sniffed that.
The only one I ever really got into was Fallout 3. And I only really got into it because everybody else was. And I don't know, everything else after that, I just can't really get into it that much. Like, I remember playing Fallout 4 because I got it bought for me, and I think I just gave it away because I was just like, I'm never going to play this. It just isn't, I'm not a big fan of it, really. Never really have been,
I,
but apart from Fallout 3.
for me, a lot of the Bethesda games are ones that I grew up with. Oblivion, when
Yeah,
that came out, that was like massive.
that was
Like,
incredible.
was that 2006 that come out? And I
Yeah.
played the absolute living shit out of it.
And Skyrim as well.
Um, so,
Skyrim was like the first one of those sort of games for me that really went, wow, I fucking love this.
well, Oblivion and Fallout, like I love both those games, and it was obviously just I never clicked that that was the same games publisher that made it.
Mm,
It never clicked that it was Bethesda. And
yeah.
obviously when Skyrim come out, I absolutely love that. I've still still play that. I've got like hundreds and hundreds of hours played.
Skyrim's absolutely fantastic. I mean, I always like the Rockstar games, like Red Dead Redemption and GTA and things like that. I always love those
GTA
sort of games.
5 is like still a
GTA
good
5.
game. I still go
Yeah,
back and play that.
the thing is, if you go into
Epic
like
Games
game shops and things like that, you always notice that like GTA's still like 40 or 50 quid to buy because it's just that fucking good.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that?
Amazed. Go on.
Have you seen that meme of the cow that's like old and skinny and it's got the GTA 5 on its head and it's Rockstar with a milking bucket? I mean, how many years has it been out now? It's like Bethesda with Skyrim. Do you know what I mean? Like, why it's been ported onto so many devices, I don't know.
And they did like a remaster, didn't they?
Yeah, it's on like Switch and stuff, and it's just like it doesn't play that well. I'm really excited for the new one. I never got into Elder Scrolls Online. I know you and Dan and Jack play a bit of that.
I mean, I only sort of got it because it was cheap, and it was while I was also this lockdown was going on. I was just like, I need something to do, and it was sort of before I decided to sort of start this podcast and things. But I was like, I need something to sort of do, something to just occupy, like because I'm going to have a lot of downtime. So I might as well play a game. And like Dan was obviously playing that, and I thought, oh, fuck it, I'll play that. And I enjoyed it. It was typical me with the game. Like I enjoyed it for about 2 weeks, and then got bored, and I've just stopped playing it. But the funny thing was that like Jack, the people who don't know Jack just does everything that I do.
I feel like he's going to be a feature on this. It's going to be Jack's moment. Yeah. He's not even in the band, but he's still like part of us.
I don't know.
Do
I really want Jack on this fucking podcast? Do I really? But
anyway, I reckon we should get Jack to do a guest.
Oh, maybe one day. Maybe you can come on. Maybe you can come on for 5 minutes. That's probably all people get to But no, like he was because me and Dan were playing Elder Scrolls Online, and we were always like on call, like going, oh yeah, let's go and do a quest together, or let's just fuck about and run about together. And you and Ben were obviously playing RuneScape, and Jack was just sat there, and me and Dan have PS4s to play it on, and Jack was sort of like, oh well. I want to play it as well. I'm going to download it on Xbox. But then realised he had no one to play with. So he bought a PS4 off Ben, and Ben completely scammed him because he sold him a broken controller. He started playing Elder Scrolls Online, and then pretty much as soon as he started playing, I stopped playing, and pretty much so did Dan as well. And he was just like, oh, for fuck's sake. Spent like 300 quid on this fucking PlayStation, which was great. Anyway, so what we're going to do now, we'll just have like a short break. We can go get like a brew and things like that. And we'll play the first single that we released off Aeons of Misery, Chains of Consciousness. Again, the album's out on the 8th of June. It might already be out when this is released, but if it is, go and download it. Link's sort of like going to be down there somewhere. I don't really know. And yeah, so we'll get into that now. Enjoy the song.
Famous
Right. Hello.
Do
All
that
right.
again.
Well. All right. Well, no, we'll go back in like that then. So yeah, welcome.
That's what forced to do an outtake.
Well, there we go. I mean, if you're gonna pull stupid faces, then yeah. But yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed Chains of Consciousness. So that was the first single we released off Aeons of Misery. And to be fair, it's like one of my favorite songs off the album. And the guest spot on it is just fucking insane. Absolutely love it. I've forgotten his name. What was his name from Autopsy? Zach. I don't know why I
Zach
had Luke in
Burkholm.
my head. Yes. So he did an absolutely phenomenal job on the sort of guest spot. So yeah, I mean that's kind of it really with that song. So Tom, give us your opinion on it.
Well, I think it's the greatest song on the album, and it's not because I wrote it.
Oh, is it one you
No,
wrote?
yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it's one of the only songs on the album that strays away from 4/4 timing at the
Yeah.
end, and I think Zach did such a good job of keeping on that beat, like with his
It was,
vocals.
yeah.
He's done
Yeah.
such a good job that it fits so well.
Yeah,
Actually, to be honest,
definitely.
all the guests have done well, but I think he's done like a really, really good job on the lyrics and stuff.
Definitely. So I want to sort
Very
of talk
cool.
about the production on the album, really, specifically from Dominic Pumperkonig. DPK Studios, obviously, you'll know him as one of the bassists from Stillbirth. I didn't know they had two bassists until recently. But yeah, he's one of the bassists from Stillbirth, and he's done an absolutely fucking brilliant job in producing the album. It's pretty much exactly how I imagined it, and especially after the disaster of Abhorrent Extinction as well. I mean, that just kind of that was absolutely terribly produced. So yeah, I mean, it's really well done, and like he's done such a fucking brilliant job. I mean, the guitar's brilliant, the bass is just so powerful on it. Dan's vocals sound great, and Ben's drums as well. I mean, he really knows what he's sort of doing. So if you want your album doing, go to DPK. But I mean, Tom, what do you think of the job that Dominic's done for us?
Yeah, I've been listening. Obviously, we've got the singles out already, but I've been listening to the album, just listening through it. Obviously, we're at the point now where what I'm listening to is going out, so I'm just sort of like listening to it almost from a third party perspective, just objectively.
Yeah.
I think the album flows really well. I think it's strange that we've sort of all wrote apart from each other, but it's come together so well.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think that's one of the things. I mean, we all live away from each other, so it's not
Yeah.
like we can Saturday practice in your mum's living room sort of band practice anymore, is it?
Well, that's the
Um,
thing, yeah. I mean, when we do, I mean, sort of when we do need a practice, it's quite easy for us all to come together because I mean, we all drive and it's we're all pretty accessible, and we all know places where we can just sort of meet up and practice. I mean, you've got that place in Tamworth that we practice at. Dan's got a place in Nottingham that he likes to go to, and then me and Ben have got a place up here which we like to rely on as well, which is always good. But I mean, excuse me. But yeah, I mean, I think Dominic just really sort of caught it well. Like exactly what we wanted. From from a production side of things, and like you say, you try and listen to it from like a different person's perspective, which is quite a difficult thing to do. I think. Like sometimes, like I try and listen to it through different. I mean, if you look at my setup here, I've got these sort of M Audio BX8 monitors, and pretty much anything can sound good through them. So I've been trying to listen to it through like a shitty pair of headphones or like like a Bluetooth speaker or something like that. What people are probably going to listen to it like through, and pretty much on everything it sounds fucking fantastic. I mean, even just through phone speakers, I think it just sounds really, really good and really polished and just lovely. So
I
yeah,
think
I mean,
what I really liked about Dominic, and this is now turned into an uh, get my words out, turn into an advert for DPK Studios.
it
But
pretty much has. But I mean, he
as
has done a fucking good job, so he deserves it.
in the editing stage before he got to mixing, he made some suggestions with what we do with some guitar parts and just some of the arrangement. And I think him just putting in another set of ears, another set of like, just another brain, just to say like, what you've got here is really good. Just take away this one thing for a second, or put this thing in for a second.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
end of Aeon's Misery riff, for example, used to be a straight slam, but now it's not,
yeah. I've
and it
noticed
sounds. way better.
He took a lot of bits away, and I think it might have been sort of like his bias of being a bassist as well, which is always good for me as well. But there's a lot of sections in it, like I can't think of the song now, but it starts off and he just took the guitar away completely, and it's just the bass on its own. And he seems to have done that like quite a lot throughout the album, where he's just taken, like you say, like little seconds out and just gone, the bass would sound great on its own there, and this would sound good on its own there, and this bit sounds shit, let's get rid of that, or this bit sounds brilliant. So I think he's done a really good job in sort of doing that for us and sort of helping us sort of write the song a little bit more, which yeah, I mean, I can't get over like what a good fucking job he's done. Really, I mean, I'm
Yeah, I
so
mean,
happy
you
with
just
it.
listen to. I don't know if you've heard the new Stillbirth single yet, but he
I
mixed
have.
that. It was mastered elsewhere. That's a tune. The new Stillbirth is gonna be. It's gonna be
Oh
heavy.
God, yeah, exactly. I think he's really sort
So
of
that's
building
worth a shout
himself
out
up
as
as
well.
well. Because I mean, before I'd never really heard of stuff he'd done before us really. So I just kind of went with you guys, like, okay, like I mean, if you guys think he's good, then I'm quite happy to go along with it. And then I was really surprised, like even when he sent back just the edits, like it came together so well. And like you say, like we recorded all the parts separately. So I recorded the bass here, you recorded the guitars at Keren's and your house. Ben recorded the drums at Noise Boy Studios in Manchester, and Dan just went to Ben's house one weekend and recorded the vocals. And they loaned an SM50 an SM7B, sorry, and they just did it in like Ben's living room or something like that. And the fact that we've just all done the parts together and then we just chucked them all, and they're synchronized perfectly, and they've just done so well. It's really good. So yeah, if you want your album doing, DPK Studios, that's where you want to go. So
DPK Studios.
it's
Thanks, Dominic. We'll sort out payment later.
yeah, exactly. We'll sort out payment when the album hits #1.
It's
But no, I mean,
advertisement
I'm
royalties.
I'm so excited for this album to come out. I mean, it's been something I've been waiting for like over a year now. Like when Judd left originally, I mean, we still had a couple of the songs sort of dotted about. Like we had like that's why we released that EP, because they were just the songs that we had lying about, and we wanted to sort of release something at the time. But I think since when Judd left, I mean, we obviously had Max in the band for a little bit, and unfortunately, it didn't quite work out with Max, which was a shame. But we never seemed to get anything done, and I think that's when we just sort of slid down a bit, is we just didn't have like such a connection with a guitarist like we have with you. And it's good that we've got a guitarist that we can fucking like rely on properly, who'll actually do a good job. So no offense to Max, like not that you did a bad job, but you know, Tom's great.
Oh, dig yourself a hole now.
I know I've really dug myself in there now. Let's just
Everyone,
try and get out.
clip this,
Let's.
share it about.
Oh,
Adam's
I
getting
know.
cancelled.
I know.
Bullying,
I'm getting cancelled.
bullying.
I've slagged off Max again. Oh, damn it. But yeah. But what I'm debating doing is I'm debating at the end of this podcast just putting a new single on the end of it. Just whacking it out as like a little debut. I mean, to be fair, I mean this might not even the album might already be out. But I mean, if it comes out before, do you think I should put a new song on the end?
Oh, yeah, and I want people to deliberate this, to listen to us deliberating, because I'm just gonna have a look at the track list, and I'm just
I
gonna
mean,
think
I was
what
thinking
would be.
Citadel. I was thinking Citadel of Flesh. That was the one I was thinking of whacking out.
Ooh. Yeah, there's. Do you know what's crazy about putting the singles out? It's a tough one. I'm sorry that everyone's listening to this is gonna think, why am I listening to these guys like decide? But from our standpoint, like I feel like every song on that album is strong in its own way.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
that's
I
why
want to go
like
with I want to go with Citadel of Flesh. I think that's the one I'm going to do, and it's my fucking podcast, so we're doing Citadel of Flesh. I just wanted you to say yes,
yeah,
basically.
we're going with Citadel of Flesh. Then
Yeah,
that's
cool.
my choice, and I've not been
You've not been
not been
influenced.
forced.
You've not been
No,
influenced.
no.
Well, that's good. I mean, well, when did you first hear Visions? That was the next thing I was going to ask, actually. I mean, I was going to ask it a little bit ago, but then we just sort of got waffling. When did you actually first hear of Visions? Like, when did you
To be
first hear us?
honest,
And like,
Barrent Extinction was my first sort of exposure to Visions. I
what
hadn't
did you
really
think?
heard of the stuff before. I liked it, and for the people listening, before I joined as a guitarist, I was a fan of the band. Um,
Why?
You know,
Why? How were you a fan of that album? I
I
think
just
that
like
album made us lose fans.
I just like the music.
Yeah,
And it's kind of crazy now being in the band that you know I was a fan of at one point. Is cool,
yeah.
and with my mates is cool. Um,
Did you have any idea what fucking idiots me, Ben, and Dan were?
yeah, well, I've had Dan on Facebook for a long time, and anyone who's got Dan on Facebook
Oh, God, it's
just
painful.
knows how much of a shit poster he is.
He's not even a
And
shit poster.
we've
He's just
sort
a shit house.
we
That's what
sort
he is.
we've sort of got to the point where that's like bleeding from real life, from Facebook into real life.
No, it's pretty. Yeah, yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, we can be quite annoying. We do like to wind people up. It's always like sort of pretty harmless. But other than the songs sort of off the new album, what are your favourite songs to play live?
It's not really like a main tune, but I really love playing 0161. Um,
It's just so hard, isn't it?
it is. It's just one of them. Like it's a riff. That's all it is. Is one riff, but it just pleases everybody.
Yeah,
You know,
everyone seems
like
to like it.
everyone likes it, and it's always fun to play. Um, oh, I love playing
It's it.
Fecaloria
I mean,
live. That's fun to play.
Fecaloria is brilliant, and I wrote that one as well.
and and Necrotic's pretty cool to play.
I
But
think
I'm sort
Necrotic's
of
my favourite.
I, I'm really looking forward to the new sort of cycle of us playing live, having a new set list.
Yeah.
Because I think I've lost some of the love that I had for those songs when I first joined the band and we were first playing them because we
Mm.
played them so much. So I'm really
Imagine what
looking
it's like.
forward to
Imagine what
refreshing.
it's like. Imagine what it's like for the rest of us. I mean, we've been playing them for fucking years now, so I know exactly what you mean. I mean, I've lost a lot of love for pretty much all of those songs now. I'm
It's
just sort of like,
it's
I
going to
want
be
to move
really
on.
nice to get some. Yeah, it's nice. Going to be nice to get some new material out and just to
Yeah,
show up. And I think though, I really, for me, I want to when people see us on stage, this album is technically better, but I want to be a better performer on stage as well.
yeah,
For anyone
definitely.
who's seen us live, Adam puts on one hell of a show. He pretends he don't care, but put him on stage. And I've seen him like throw his bass at the ceiling. I've seen him rolling around on the floor and all sorts.
Yeah,
But
I like,
I think we're definitely going to put more of a show on because
yeah.
I think that we're going to be more into the songs. So I think we're going to be back with a bang once we're live.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's also kind of hard. Like, I'm going to sort of try and look at it from your perspective as well. It's probably kind of hard to get into a song that you've had absolutely no part in writing. It's probably a bit harder to like play somebody else's songs because I suppose you just feel like you're covering really.
Yeah, for the most part, I think, like I said, I've been practicing the songs um, just here at home, just chilling, playing along to them. And if
Mm.
any like, I've found myself like a couple of the slams, I'm pulling a stank face, and I'm
Mm.
like not knowing that I'm doing it, and I'm just like,
Mm.
oh, this bit's a bit naughty. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just like, I catch myself doing that, and I'm like, no, let's just play to a crowd of people, and
Yeah,
it's gonna go off.
I mean it is great when you sort of look out and there's people also pulling that face at you. It's always a lot of fun. But what do you think is the best gig that you've played with us so far? Anyway.
Um, Apart from nearly shitting myself, Antwerp was pretty good, and just going to offer a little bit of context upon that because that might seem a little bit of a strange sentence to
Oh,
people listening.
I
Um,
completely forgot about that.
we were on
Go on.
tour in last May 2019, with Scordatora, us, and Aphotic. Um, we'd been out the night before, just so everyone could get to know each other. Went down Spoons in Nottingham, got to know each other, had a few beers. Woke up feeling pretty all right. I felt fairly fine. On the way down there, we stopped for a quick Subway. Now this is like the fatal flaw. That Subway would come back. I think it's like Oxford fucking services because I'm going off on a tangent right now, but I recently went down to Wembley to watch Villa play Man City, and
Who won?
we
Who won?
stopped at that same. We stopped to
Who
that
won?
same services. I'm
Who
not
won?
talking about that. I'm talking about Subway. um, um, we got to that services. I saw it, and I swear to God, I was having flashbacks and all sorts. We'd got across the channel. We're into France. I was feeling fine. I was feeling good. We got into Belgium, and I started sweating a bit. I started feeling a bit unwell.
Right, let's go back into Tom's story of him shitting himself. So we'd just gone down to London to go and watch Villa get fucking spanked by Man City. So continue where you were. So
Yeah,
Subway.
right, and I'll say having flashbacks because the previous year I'd eaten this steak and cheese Subway foot long,
Nice.
and it was delicious. But as I'm standing there, like a year later, I've got like sweats because I've got having flashbacks to what happened like only hours later. So flashback to a year like before that, we'd left the services, everything was all good. To be fair, everything was good. We got over the channel, went to France, went through France to Belgium. Everything was good. We then got onto the outskirts of Antwerp, where the traffic was pretty bad. I mean, this is quite a few hours later, and like I started feeling ill, so I'm just sort of sitting there quietly. It like comes to me that I need a shit, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's okay. We're only like an hour away," and I'm like, "Okay, that's a lot of time." And Dan starts to think it's funny, like pushing on my stomach, and I'm like trying to defend myself while not moving because I feel that ill. Like at this point, I'm like just pure sweating out of like trying not to shit myself that much. And I'm like looking out the window, thinking like I could jump out the van and I might be able to shit on that side of the street. Like that's how bad it is.
Nice.
And like, so we're getting into Antwerp, and I'm like, I'm a wreck. I'm an absolute mess at this point. Like, I can't even think. It's just like static's gone off in my brain. Like, it's just like human instincts have gone. I'm like, all the effort, every essence of myself is gone into like puckering my arsehole at this point, just to like keep it in. So we're going, like, on this tour, Daryl had taken his motor, so he had already got there before with like Andy and some of the others from Aphotic. Like we get there, I literally slam the van door open.
Yeah, I remember
Andy
that.
comes up to meet me. Andy's like, "Yo, Tom," and I'm just like, grab him, and I'm like, "Toilet." And it's like the only word I can muster. And like, consider like, put yourself in my shoes, right? This is the first time, right, I've ever been out to Europe on tour with a band. It's the first time I've been out. Like, this is like the second gig I'm ever going to play with Visions. I'm thinking like, I might shit myself in a van full of pretty much strangers at this point, and forever be known as that dude who shit himself on that first day of tour. But yeah, I'll never forget. Like Andy's like, it's this way, and I'll never forget. Like honestly, I'd put Usain Bolt to shame, just like sprinting through this
I
venue.
remember that because I remember
All the
standing.
Belgians were like, waiting there in a line to say hello to us, who had all just arrived.
I
And
know,
I'm just
yeah.
like,
I remember it so well because I remember obviously being sat on the van because because it wasn't only a shit with you because you needed a piss as well because I remember we got on the ferry and we'd had sort of 3 or 4 beers or something like that on the ferry or maybe it was 3 beers on the ferry over, but we didn't go to the toilet like after I think Dan and Ben went to the toilet. They were quite smart with it, but we didn't for whatever reason. I think we were in a bit of a rush to get back to the van. And we were sat there, and I started really needing a piss, and you were saying you needed a piss as well. And we said to Owen, we were like, "Oh yeah, can we stop off at the next services?" And he was like, "Oh fucking hell!" Like, because he was in a bit of like a rush and that. And anyway, and we just couldn't find one for ages. So we ended up like finding that 2 liter bottle. I'm pretty sure we had to share a 2 liter bottle and piss into it each, if I remember rightly. Or did we
I think we did, yeah.
we had to share a 2 liter bottle and piss into it.
But this
I
is in
remember
France. This is before I needed to shit myself.
exactly. So you
So I nearly pissed myself already at this point.
you nearly pissed yourself, and I mean, imagine that. That would have been an event for the first day at all. You piss and shit yourself before we even got to Belgium. But I remember being in
Oh,
Belgium because
disgraceful.
we were trying to drive through that part of Antwerp, and it was so fucking busy. like ridiculously busy, and there was people stopping us. There was some guy who started shouting fish and chips at us and stuff because we were English. Well, I mean, we were English. I mean, the rest of the guys weren't, so they probably weren't too happy with that. But we kept getting and people were staring into the van and stuff. And I can just imagine them staring into the van and seeing you just like this, like rocking backwards and forwards, sweating like fuck.
I think like the last 20 minutes, I was stood up and
I think, yeah, you were.
I'd physically grabbed my arse cheeks and pushed them together. Like when
I
I
do
say I was
remember.
like exerting all my force, like it was a really terrible experience, and I
Didn't you bin
felt
your pants?
yeah. Well, obviously I didn't shit myself. I'm an adult. I managed to hold on to it, no matter like how ill I was feeling. But we got there, and I'd sprinted through the venue to the bogs. And anyone who's ever been on tour knows venue toilets are pretty minging, no matter where you are in the world. But I did my business. But at this point, I was just like, there's like 4 hours worth of thoughts that I'd put to one side because I had to concentrate. So I'm just sitting there, and it's all like washing over me, just like all these thoughts of like shame and embarrassment. I'm just sort of sitting there with my pants around my ankles, just like, is this what I'm doing now for the next like week or so? I felt
It's terrible.
honestly like I felt so unclean that at this point I'd like taken my shorts off, taken my pants off, put my shorts back on, just went commando after. Like I hadn't even shit myself. Just the thought of it, like I felt so utterly dirty.
I mean, you're talking
Like
to an
I,
expert on shitting. I've shit myself multiple times in my life, and when I've been old as well, like well old, but like when you're at an age where you shouldn't be shitting yourself. So I know exactly. I know exactly that fucking feeling. You're talking to the master here. Like,
honestly, it's just you think you see a little kid do it, and they're just completely like there's nothing because that's how their brains are programmed. But for like 20 odd years of my life, because obviously the first few years are like you're allowed to do it, but I've spent 20 years of my life like training my brain not to do it, and like you come that close, you just think like there's just 20 years worth of like lessons coming back to you.
20 years of work down the drain.
So,
I mean,
so I learned. I got to say that I learned one of the very valuable lessons about tour on that first day, and I'm going to share that little pearl of knowledge with you now.
go on.
Anyone, right? If you're going on tour, whether it's domestic or international, rule number one: piss and shit, no matter where you can, even if you're not sure you need it,
Yeah,
because it could come back.
always,
And it
always do
sounds
it.
so stupid. It sounds stupid, but unless you've spent an hour, like honestly, I'm struggling for words to describe how bad it was. Obviously, for these guys, it was hilarious. They thought it was hilarious,
Oh, it
like the
was
funniest
brilliant.
thing they'd ever seen. But
It
for me,
fucking
it's
was.
like one of the worst experiences of my adult life.
Yeah,
I'm just
you
saying,
don't want to
like,
be in that
if
situation.
you're in a budding band and you're going to go on tour, do you know what? You might not need a piss, but you've just had a Coke from Mackey's. Just go and try it, mate, because it's going to come in handy at some point.
Mm.
Um,
See, I think always keep an empty
but yeah,
2 litre bottle in
anyway,
the van as
we've
well,
gone
just
on a
in case.
complete we've
I
gone
know,
on a complete tangent from the question.
we have.
What about 3 hours ago? Adam asked me what my favourite gig was, and it was Antwerp.
There we go. Antwerp.
We've got a bit sidetracked from that. So
Oh yeah.
if you imagine how I'm feeling, right? So I felt complete like embarrassment. I felt disgusted. I spent about half an hour just scrubbing myself clean,
Mm.
like with
It's a
cold
good way.
water.
It's a good way to
I,
start. So it's a
I
very good
felt
way to
grim.
start.
But anyway, when I left that tour, we turned over a new page in the book. We thought, right, lads, we're here, we're on tour. We got introduced to everyone. Everyone in the venue was super friendly. It was like a very like small,
Very
like
intimate.
community run place. It was awesome, and the crowd went mad for all three bands, and it was just like all that stress just ended up in that one point, and it felt so worth it.
It was great. It was really really good. I really enjoyed that gig. I think my favorite gig on that tour though, like Nice to Eat You. I think Nice to Eat You was fantastic. I mean, even though we opened as well, I think that went really fucking well for us. That was a really good show. Um, And then obviously
we don't have a huge amount of experience playing. Well, I don't personally have a huge amount of experience playing like open air festivals. These guys played Bloodstock before I joined, but I think for bands of our level, getting to a festival tour circuit stage is like the pinnacle. And to have that little taste in Czech Republic
great.
it was amazing.
It was a really good show.
Plus, we were like, it's not too far over the German border into Czech Republic, and
Yeah.
the area we went into was like mountainous, wooded. It was like another world. It was
It
just
was
like
it was absolutely brilliant. It really was. It's
and
one of the best places I've ever been to, especially after the disaster of Poland, playing in Łódź
we
on
don't
this
talk about Poland.
we turned up at this venue in Łódź, or Lodz as it's spelt, and
Rouge.
Łódź, and it was this absolutely sick, like such a good venue, huge stage, like loads of floor space. Really, like so ideal. It has like a projector on the back, so they can project your logo behind, and it was so good. And I remember we were going around Wuj, it's not the it's a bit of a grey place, and we were there like, right, okay, we're ready. Doors opened, and I think for the rest of the night, I don't think one person came through those doors. It
I think
was
4 people paid, and that promoter never said hello. He ran off
I,
and
I
fucked off because
I don't even know who the promoter was. I really don't know who the promoter was.
no.
But yeah,
And
so that was
Joe,
that
what
was
I
a
chat
disaster.
a lot of smack about Poland, um, but the crowd in Katowice were really good, and
Katowice was great.
like
Katowice
I
was
have to
great.
sort of like eat my own words, but then we had problems with the venue. I mean, um,
Oh, that guy at
like I
the
mentioned,
venue.
we had Daryl's car with 4 people in, and the van with 8 of us in. So Daryl's car had pulled out of this gate at the venue. This Polish guy who owned the venue like made it very difficult for us to buy beer, buy water. Just he made it very difficult for us.
Do everything.
Um,
He was an arsehole.
yeah, he was an arsehole basically. And as we finished, we've played a good gig. We've had a really good time. Loads of people turned up. He tries to lock us in the van into the compound of the venue.
Yeah,
And where did we have to be the following day from Poland?
I think was it. I think it was Czech Republic.
It might have had to be Czech Republic, so we had quite a way to go. And this guy starts locking up, and Daryl gets out of his motor and just starts screaming at the guy. But that I
Oh,
think if we could go back to Poland, I think I would like to.
yeah,
I would love to play somewhere like Gdansk or Krakow and
yeah,
play
definitely.
like because I feel like I've chatted a lot of shit about Poland,
I
but
mean, what was the quote? Poland shit. I don't know why the Germans wanted it so much.
yeah, which is a bit stupid of me saying, and I'm just gonna put that on record
It was a great
that
quote though. It was a great quote.
yeah, I mean, it just sums up how miserable I was.
You were very much.
I'd spent like an hour and a half walking in the pissing rain just to try and get money out. I got back to the venue, and because zlotys aren't worth very much, their cash machines can't spit it out in a small enough amount that you can spend it.
Yeah,
So, like, the guy wouldn't let me buy 1 bottle of beer. Like, I was fed up. I wanted a bottle of beer and I wanted to just chill. I ended up buying 7 bottles of beer just so I could spend the money because he wouldn't let me break a note.
yeah. He wouldn't. He wanted exact change every time, didn't he? If you went, I don't know what it was,
Yeah,
like 130 for a beer or something like that, or however, like I don't know what it translated to in zlotys or whatever, but you'd go like, oh yeah, 130, and you'd like hand him like a tenner or something like that, and he'd be like, no. He'd be like, but that's more than enough. And then like you said, you ended up buying like 7 bottles just to be like, right, you know what,
yeah.
fuck
I
off.
mean, to put it in perspective, at the time, 1 zloty, 7 zlotys was £1.
Was that what it was?
So each bottle was a quid, which is fantastic. Like, I love that. That's one of the good things about you get good beer at a cheap price in Europe,
Yeah,
and the UK needs to follow suit.
it's
But
brilliant.
Yeah, I think Belgium have got the. I've gone off on a tangent. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I was just about to
No,
start
yeah.
talking about beer.
I know, yeah. I'm basically just sort of going to be like starting to wrap it up a bit now, basically. But I'm going to go into like some quick fire questions just because why the fuck not? We'll just end it on that. So, what do you prefer out of UK or Europe?
Europe wins it a little bit, just because it's special, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Schechter or Ibanez?
Schechter.
You
I
reckon?
am currently playing a Schechter KM7 Mark III. So Schechter, if you're watching this, sponsor my gorgeous ass, please.
Endorsement. Nice endorsement. I mean,
And
I've
this
go on.
guitar I used to record all of Aeons of Misery with. So
Mm,
you'll be hearing that all over.
there we go. Cool. Um, beer or cider?
I'm a beer man. Cider makes me poorly.
Yeah, cider's shit. Tea or coffee?
I've got a beer tea.
I don't really understand this one, but apparently it's one that a lot of people ask: pizza or pasta?
Oh, I mean pizza, obviously,
Pizza
but I
every
like
day.
pasta. Don't get me wrong. If you was going to go out for a meal and someone went pizza or pasta, if you choose pasta, you'll probably hit as a kid. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, there you go. If you like pasta, you were probably hit as a kid. Lovely. And this is the last one. Um, mosh pit or throwing down?
Just throwing down. I don't. I'm in mosh retirement. I'm too fat and old to like run about anymore. I get heartburn and all sorts now. It's awful.
Oh
Um,
no,
but I like having a few beers and having a good headbang with my mates at
yeah,
a gig or whatever.
definitely,
Um,
definitely.
but if we're playing, if someone wants to do whatever they want to do, as long as they're having a good time, I think
Yeah,
that's the most important thing.
cool. Right. I think that's probably a good place to wrap this shit up. Really. Last question though: if you could book one gig for Visions, what venue would it be, and what bands would you include, and why?
I don't even have to really like make up my own. I just think stuff like Death Feast in Germany, in Andernach, uh,
Hmm,
crazy lineup every year. Sebastian from Exercise Gods got something to do with Slaughter Feast. That lineup looks pretty cool. Um,
nice.
it's hard to say. If I had to have a headline band above us, I think it would be really cool to play with Devourment, just to say we did, because it's so rare that they come over here.
Yeah, good.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
nice. What
Devourment
venue?
or Cannibal Corpse. It's have to be like outside. So if Bloodstock Festival over in the UK, I'd love to play Bloodstock.
Yeah,
Um,
we'd like to go
yeah,
back as
somewhere
well.
like
So
that.
if anyone from Bloodstock happens to watch this, please have us back. That would be nice.
We've got
So
a new
yeah,
album.
yeah, we've got a new album. So yeah, thank you very much for your time, Tom. It was a lot of fun. I think we chatted a lot of shit. I think we covered absolutely no grounds, but we somehow managed to kill a lot of time. So that was great. It was good fun.
Absolutely. I just want to, if anyone's actually got up to this point listening to it, I just want to apologise that you're never getting this time back.
No,
But
never.
thanks for sticking with us. Obviously, we've had some technical issues and stuff. It's the first episode, we're figuring it out.
Mm,
We hope you've learned a little bit about us. In the future, if you want to drop names down below who you want to see us speak to, it might be Adam doing it on his own. It might be me and Adam, just whoever who's got the time
yeah,
and place. But yeah, whack names in the description, and we'll get it going. Cool. Thanks for watching.
definitely. That's it. So yeah, check out Visions of Disfigurement.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and smash that like button.
Right in the middle of my
YouTuber
fucking outro.
moment.
That was right in the middle of
Sorry.
my fucking outro as well, you dick.
YouTuber moment. I've always wanted to do that.
A YouTuber moment, yeah. Smash that like button and subscribe. Um, so yeah, let's try that again. So check out Visions of Disfigurement. The album Aeons of Misery is out on Monday, the 8th of June. Link to everything is going to be in the description. Like I say, it might already be out, but we'll see you again soon. So, ta-da!
Sword